Hi, I'm Nicole and I'm a co-founder of the Cooperative Agriculture Network. Today, let's take a dive into the history of co-ops, all the way up to our Cooperative Agriculture Network right here in Humboldt. You may know the story. In 1844, weavers and workers in Rochdale in the north of England started a food store in an extraordinary venture that has come to be seen as the first cooperative in the world. These pioneers are most famous for designing the Rochdale principles on which co-ops around the world operate to this day. But at its simplest, cooperative and mutual action is about people working together equitably as members of a formal, open body that exists to meet their economic and wider needs. Away from the West, cooperative structures have long existed as well. In the 4th century BCE in China, the Confucian Meng Ke wrote in a book about market traders who would exchange together with officials to oversee the process. During the Roman Empire, there was a variety of groups of artisans organized into collegia, or formal membership associations. The philosopher St. Augustine looked to set the ground rules for how mutual trade and exchange should operate through the concept of a just price. In today's modern Turkey, the Ahi movement was started in the 13th century by a master leather craftsman and scholar. He envisioned a world of guilds connected and operating in a context of ethics and faith that could enable peaceful collaboration across the economy and society. In Karnataka, India, most of the rains come in the monsoon season. An inscription dated to 1371 describes the contribution of villagers in the form of the upkeep of 4 bullock carts for the maintenance of a water tank. In Central America and the Andes, there are claims that collaboration, such as around irrigation systems and seed banks, were core to the culture of the Aztecs and the Incas in Peru. Zuni Indians of New Mexico were observed cooperating in working the fields and looking after sheep and building houses. Wealth that was accumulated tended to be redistributed in gifts and ceremonies. By the early 1800s, small localized cooperatives organized in the US to purchase products in bulk for members and sell them at cost. By 1866, they could be found in most important industrial towns nationwide. In the late 1800s came the Grange movement. It actively promoted cooperative development and sought to eliminate the costs associated with the middleman by bringing farmers and manufacturers and producers and consumers into direct relations. However, a diversification into many different business practices took its toll on the Grange movement. The turn of the century was a time of expansion for agricultural co-ops, credit unions, and a growing labor movement. Emerging in the early 1900s, the American Farm Bureau and the National Farmers Union became significant forces in farmer cooperative development. They provided technical assistance to new co-ops and lobbied for the enactment of state and federal legislation favorable to cooperatives. The challenges of the Great Depression brought further federal support for cooperatives. The Farm Credit Act in 1933 established production credit associations to make production loans to farms and created a system of banks for agricultural cooperatives. The years following World War II were marked by increasing sales volume and an increased use of cooperatives in the agricultural sector, although cooperative consolidation led to a smaller number of larger cooperatives. The civil rights movement embraced cooperatives and supported the Federation of Southern Cooperatives as a way to support independent black farmers in the South. Consumer food cooperatives experienced a resurgence during the mid-60s and early 70s, driven by a lack of access to natural and organic foods and interest in alternative food systems. Although many eventually failed, those that survived were a major influence on the growth and development of the organic and natural foods market. We've actually had the good fortune to welcome George Seaman, one of the founders of Organic Valley, to a discussion with the Cooperative Agriculture Network. Today, there are more than 100 worker-owned cooperatives in California. Right here in Humboldt, we have Cooperation Humboldt, a worker-directed nonprofit which has participated in the development of our own Cooperative Agriculture Network, or CAN. CAN was formed in early 2021 from a group working on solutions for small independent farmers in Humboldt through collaboration with Cooperation Humboldt and the nonprofit research center CASP. CAN is a farmer-owned and operated cooperative incubator and think tank composed of cannabis farmers, cooperative business builders, and marketing and research experts in Humboldt County, California. CAN conducted an in-depth interview analysis with over 24 local cannabis farmers on the needs, obstacles, and solutions around cooperatives. Here in Humboldt, Uplift Co-op is the first cannabis agricultural co-op in California. Drew Barber, founding member of Uplift Co-op, is a co-founder of CAN. In February 2022, CAN launched its pilot cooperative cannabis academy with a group of farmers who have now formed into the Salmon Creek Legacy Farms. Sean Cherry, founding member of Salmon Creek Legacy Farms, is also a co-founder of CAN. Today, CAN offers intro workshops for people who want to learn about co-ops. We also offer a 10-week cooperative cannabis academy, as well as technical assistance for cooperative operations.